Hi, it's Solar, and I'm here with a video on how to build the hulls for boats and ships in Minecraft. This video is in response to the current fad of shipbuilding going on right now, and is also a, let's say, evolution on the concepts and tips included in Hology's video, which has been shared a lot right now. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. Very intuitive video, and it taught me everything I needed to know to build my first hull. This video will be designed for people that already have some level of comfort with building that hull, or building in that style, but will have an evolution on that methodology that will allow you, I think, to build a hull in 10 to 15 minutes with enough practice. So to get started, you can see I've done the first step here, which is to plan. So in this video, I've basically at random elected to build the HMS Jupiter, which is a ship in the Royal Navy, constructed, if I recall, around, I want to say 1894. But this method is not just limited to ships of that period. I'm just going in the same style as Hology's video. You could build a pirate ship, a Viking longship, a schooner, a canoe at an extremely large scale. Basically any hull you can build with this method. What you'll need, though, is a basic outline. And so in this case, for the Jupiter, I'll link the Wikipedia page. These stats came straight off the page. Just the length, which is the length. The beam, which is the maximum width of the ship's hull. So in this case it's 23, which is perfect. We want an odd number. It's good for Minecraft. And then we have the draught, which is 8 meters in this case, and that's the distance from the bottom of the ship to the waterline. Now, once we have this in place, and you can pause, I assure you the numbers are correct. There's 128. And then this sticks out 11, so 11, 11, 1 is 23, and then down 8. Once you've done that, you've completed the first step of the shipbuilding process. Next, we're going to build a very minimal wireframe. So I'll jump ahead to once I've done that, I'll show you my strategy for completing that. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes, and this is the wireframe I've built. So as you can see, there's 5 main parts of it here. So I started by building the bottom of the hull, and then I built the orange, which is the waterline. The yellow is the gunwale up at the top, and then in pink I've built the prow and the aft. And I've built this pretty roughly based off of the schematic image that's available on the Wikipedia page. And I went pretty quick through it. I don't think it's anything super special or super accurate, but it's a pretty rough mock-up, and you'll see that even with this level of roughness, the results should be pretty good. And there's a lot of opportunity for fine-tuning later. And this is actually the lengthiest part of the whole process. So make sure. So if you can find a schematic for your ship, just try to get these 5 hull sections in. You don't need to do it on the other side. We'll take care of that later. And once you've done that, you're in a pretty good shape. So before we can complete the final step of this, which yes, there's only one thing left to do. We're almost done here. We need to introduce a tool in WorldEdit that some of you may not be familiar with. So you'll see if I come over here and I type in cell for select, it gives a bunch of options, and we're interested in this one right here, cell hull. Now before you click out of the video, this does not just construct a ship hull. It's a little more nuanced than that. So we're going to go over how this tool works and some of the gotchas that it presents, so that you'll be able to use this for building the hulls of ships, and also it's useful in a lot of other contexts. So this is a tool that creates, in geometry, what's called a convex hull or a convex envelope. And so what that means is a three-dimensional space that doesn't, a surface in 3 dimensions but doesn't curve back in on itself, hence convex. What does that mean in Minecraft? Well, if you define a set of points, so I'm just going to left click to start selecting and then select all these points I've got placed around here, it will create a hull, which is like kind of like draping a cloth over these points and tying it up as tightly as possible. Right, and so let's see if I do replace air with, let's just say black wool, then you should see we have a hull around these points. Now, one apparent problem is right here. At this corner, doesn't look like the hull actually made it around to envelope this point. Now, this is a problem with the hulls, and it's because of the way that WorldEdit calculates them. So if not enough of the hull, which is at a much finer precision than Minecraft's 1 meter blocks, if not enough of a 1 meter block is encased in the hull, it will not fill that block. And so on sharp corners, you end up with these disconnects. So the takeaway here is sharp corners, sharp angles, doesn't connect up well. So that's something to avoid. Now, before we get back to the ship, one other little tip you can do. So this is my neo-cubism house I've built here. If I want to put a roof on it, I got that one there. Well, I can do the same exact thing, and if I add some more points, I can adjust the slope such as I desire. So another little way we can use the hull tool. This is exactly what Hology says WorldEdit doesn't have in his video, which makes it very troublesome for him to fill his hull, which he does using falling concrete powder, which this method is very quick, won't crash your client or your server, so that's good. So now, for the main focus, how can we use this on the hull? Well, the way I've learned to do it is pretty simple. Start on the red, start a new hull, left click, and just click along here, get some points. You don't need to click as much as I am, but if you want a nice smooth hull that follows the contour you've done, you want to grab as many points as you can. More important, you want to make sure you get all of this aft and prow lines if you've defined them well. And then we'll come back across the orange. And down again. So we've just done a loop from red to orange, so from the bottom of the hull across the water line. Now, if we do our little trick again, actually we'll just do, let's do set red terracotta. We have a hull. Now you'll find that if the angle is sharp enough, you will have trouble with this hull. Now the solution to that is actually, if I undo, so it didn't happen on this particular one, but it's happened to me in the past, so I'll show you how to alleviate it, is we're going to do the exact same thing. We will come across here. Gonna be a little lazier this time. Make sure you get all of this. You want to pick up the fine details. And what will often happen is these sharp angles here will not get captured just like we saw over there. The way to fix it is if you come down this side, grab plenty of points down here, it will widen up the angle enough that it should nice fleshed out hull. Now, as you can see, maybe you don't like some of the details. You know, maybe it doesn't grab all the wool. If you have any problems, you can just go through and fine-tune it out. So to finish the hull, we'll do a repeat on the same thing, but on the upper half. So we'll go where the orange used to be. And we'll go up to the yellow. We do a, let's try a light gray, or concrete, let's try. We should see, sure enough, the top side of our hull. So now we have a very pretty good hull, considering that it was just 2 WorldEdit commands and some right-clicking with your wooden axe. Now there's a lot of room for fine-tuning and detailing in here. You know, maybe you want to come through and clean up these lines somehow, or whatnot, and get rid of the wool. But as a base, this is quite nice. Now I almost neglected, which I'm, you know, maybe some of you are wondering, yeah, surely, Solar, this is not a seaworthy hull. Well, we can fix that, sure enough. Not to worry, we're still flying half a ship. So I'm just gonna select position 1, and we will do, don't forget to go into our cuboid selection, and then we'll select our points, and then, hopefully, if I've done that right, we can, sorry, so I just selected POS 1 for one of my cuboid, and I used HPOS, which casts a ray out of your vision to target that red block down there to just grab this whole volume. And then if I copy and then flip it and paste, and we won't, never paste with air if you can avoid it. There you have it. A complete symmetrical. You know, you'd want to clean this up before flipping it, but easy enough. You've got a completed hull, and if you'd like, actually that should still be +2. We can. There you have it. The hull is in the water. So that's how you can create your own ship in just a few minutes. So if anyone, I have no intention of completing the Jupiter here, but if someone's interested, you can take a stab at completing the Jupiter or your own ship, and let me see how it came out. I'm excited to see. Hopefully this helps you create your ships with a little bit more fine-tuned control and much quicker, and you can focus on the fun bits like the superstructure and the weapons or the crew quarters, what have you. But get the pesky hull out of the way with this technique. So hopefully it helps. Thanks, and have a good one.